Hello everybody, we're going to do a Country Roads Take Me Home Fall Edition. We're actually going to go here on Greenpoint Schoolhouse Road first, just because it'll add a little bit of time, because going over Goldmine Mountain really doesn't take that long. Plus, we have a haunted history film to do on the rail trail that leads back to Roush Gap. I'm not going back to Roush Gap because it's like 4 miles back from where you park, and I'm old, decrepit, fat, and lacking 1 foot or part of a foot, and I'm just not ready to do something like that. And I want to be that invested, but physically not ready. Spirit is willing, body is not. But anyways, this is back in Greenpoint, Pennsylvania. This is where I grew up. So I wanted to take you along this road because we are reaching sort of the peak colors now here in Lebanon County. As you can see, it's just really, really, really pretty. Probably gonna do a couple other cool videos as well. I want to do one out at Anytown Gap. I may wind up doing a second video for the memories of hometown heroics, journey through times of war. I had gone early in the channel because I had been doing mainly cemetery videos, churches and cemeteries, and I wanted to do something a little different, so I went and filmed the vehicles that they have sort of there at the airfield, Indian Town Gap, and so I showed those vehicles, the helicopters, the tanks, and things like that. So one of the haunted history tales that I'm going to do today has to do with that airfield. I want to do in front of one of the 3 helicopters I believe they have there. But I also want to film some of the other things and maybe do a repeat video of that. So we'll see what happens. But this is my hometown. This is where a lot of my history has happened, and really beautiful area, Greenpoint, in this little valley that goes through here. We're going to go up over Goldmine Mountain because it's especially pretty, and I think it's called St. Anthony's Wilderness. It's like the second largest wilderness area where there aren't, any roads going through it and all that kind of stuff. So it's a massive wilderness area, beautiful area. And I think the largest area in Pennsylvania, wilderness area, is over like in the Allegheny Mountains region over in Pittsburgh area, but this is the second largest area in Pennsylvania wilderness region where there's just nothing. It's just there. That's Sadison's Church there. We've done a couple videos there with the historic marker, with the Sadison Church cemetery itself, and we've also done a video there for one of the places we visited, if you will, for the Blue-Eyed Six video, because 2 of the members of the Blue-Eyed Six are buried there, George Zeckman and Josiah. Off the top of my head, I can't think of his last name, but he was one of the guys that got hung. George Zeckman was the only member of the Blue-Eyed Six that actually was not hung. Fortunately for him, his wife came from a family with money, and they were able to afford a really good lawyer. And like even back then, if you could have a really good lawyer, you could wind out reaping the benefits of not being hung. But he wound up, from being in prison, he developed some really bad breathing disorders and things like that, and it just ultimately wound out killing him. But, prison wasn't what it is today. Not that prison's great either today, but they take care of you quite a bit better than back then. You were in a dank hole, and, you're around mold and mildew and all this other stuff. You're not eating properly. It's just an ugly place back in the 1870s and before. But we are now on Goldmine Road, and we're going to be heading up through to Goldmine. At some stage, we'll talk about it later in this video, but I do want to take you up to the Boxcar Rocks. We're not going to be able to get up on them. I think even with the new shoes, my balance isn't what it should be. and it's quite a long drop off of those rocks, so I don't want to have that be the end of me, the Hometown Historian channel and all that. Mainly I just don't want to die a horrific death. I'm not willing to sacrifice that much for you guys. Just look how pretty the trees are. All the different vibrant colors. I love fall. It's just such a beautiful period of time. Probably my favorite season. I know I've said that a lot. Just the coolness of it, the freshness to me. I just love it. Spring, I'm not the biggest. I like it, but that would probably be my second favorite season. Just because that's even fresher, obviously, than fall. But just look over through the valley there, how pretty that is. I just don't like all the rain. Having been somebody that's done landscaping for a long period of time, I did not enjoy getting soaked. I have many bad memories of being drenched wet and didn't enjoy it at all. Winter has, from doing snow removal, has caused me to not ever complain about summer being too hot, because I had a couple winters there where it was pretty darn frigid, and I think you were doing a snow removal overnight, and with the wind chill it was like -25, -30, and that I didn't enjoy, and that was where I made my promise. Never again will I complain about summer. I can always get warm, or cool I should say. It takes a while to get warm, and yeah, I learned to deal with summer, even though summer probably has a worse effect on me because of the diabetes. But we will, once we get up here a little further, we're going to pull off to let this guy behind me go, because people like to fly up through this mountain and I do not. I want to have an enjoyable experience of driving and not an unenjoyable experience, which is what I would have if I continue to allow this person to tailgate me. So I will not allow it. I will say no by pulling off and letting them by, so they will not be grumpy either. This is a very, very turny road going up over the mountains here. I believe Second Mountain and Sharp Mountain is what these are called. We'll pull off here at the top and let this guy by. And then we will continue on as we go down. And then as we come down here in between the two mountain ranges, this is where I believe it was the Susquehanna and Dauphin Railroad that went through, and to the left side, over on this side, would be where the villages of Rauch Gap, Cold Springs, which was sort of a resort town back then because they had really beautiful springs there, and then there was Yellow Springs, which is a town that was a little bit further, but Rauch Gap I think is about like 3 miles back, 3.5 miles, and then Cold Springs is probably like another 1.5 to 2 miles. I may be wrong. This is what's considered as Stony Valley. Ralph's daughter Brandy does quite a bit with that. She runs StonyValley.com, but that's the way that and we'll go back and make a video back there about the haunted history tale that I'm going to tell. But a lot of history back in this valley. I mean, just the village of Goldmine, you can go back, I think right there, that takes you right back to the village of Goldmine itself. Pretty neat town. They have repaved this, which is pretty nice as well. It's sort of terrifying along the road here sometimes. It's up on this side on the right where the guardrail is sort of sinking off the road, and it's sort of like sort of wonder, is the road gonna follow suit? But you hope not. But many journeys going back over the mountain here. We used to come back over here to visit my mom's brother Art. the Wallborns over here in Tower City. A lot of great memories. Coming over the mountains, seeing the lights of Tower City and the valley there. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous drive. A lot of great memories. Yeah, there's where it's starting to fall off. Always makes me nervous. My dad and I used on the left there, we used to go back. It's like an old stagecoach trail that went back through there. Really neat trail. And you'd overlook, you go back so far and you actually overlook Goldmine, the village of Goldmine. They did a lot of coal mining and things like that. And I think over on the right, down there somewhere, there is a town that existed as well. I mean, it was all throughout this area. It was very great coal mining in the region. So, you know, they a lot of those towns lasted through the 1910, 1915. That's where you go back to Boxcar Rocks. Ralph and I had an adventure going back through there to see if the tree frogs were having some good times back there, and unfortunately we didn't really see many, and definitely did not see them having a good time. Just sort of hard to gauge what time of season they're going to do it now, because it's been warmer as of late last couple years. So you sort of have to just hit it right, and you have to sneak up on them too, because as soon as they hear anything or see a shadow, they disappear. But a lot of really cool history through this area. You know, you're like, oh, it's a wilderness area. It's nothing but trees and rocks and all this other stuff. But in actuality, there was actually a lot of history back here. A lot of really, really cool history. You know, we talk about, you know, areas like this, the Industrial Revolution would have been possible without areas like this and people working so hard to get the coal that fueled everything at that time. A lot of lives were lived here. There's still old cemeteries out, like Rauschkap has a cemetery. There's a number of other ones around the area as well, you know, wherever people lived. You know, a lot of those, unfortunately, you know, they're all abandoned, but a lot of them are lost to time as well. It's just one of those things that happens over time. This is the drive down to Tower City. I think though, when we turn around, we will film going back up the mountain, because the view is phenomenal going back up. This is for those of you that enjoy the country roads, take me home, or the road trips that we make. This is a trip that we have made before, and we actually as well, when we get down to the bottom of the mountain here, we'd make a left and follow that journey out to Dauphin in Dauphin County, Pennsylvania. And you always can smell your brakes real good. You know whether your brakes are working or not anymore. And if they fail, well, it was nice knowing you. Once we get down here to the bottom, I will turn off for a second, plug the phone back in, and then we will go back up the mountain. It's just such a pretty view going back up through, and just a different perspective, if you will, going back. So I am going to turn off here, and then we will start up as we go back up the mountain. Alright, so we are heading back up the mountain. Just give you this different perspective. See what you think. almost at the top. Such a sharp turn. So I want to say thank you once again for coming along on this Country Roads Take Me Home Fall Edition. I hope you enjoyed the colors, the sights, my voice occasionally, and all that good stuff. So as always, I want to say thank you, and we will see you all about town.